Okay. Right. Good evening, Clive. How are you
Evening,
doing?
Graham. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Been a long day, but it's good to get to the end of it and do one of these sessions again. So yeah, we're doing five with Clive. It's episode 11, which is great. And one thing that's come up this week is VAT, PVA, postponed VAT accounting. There's been some misinformation coming from other trade associations we won't name, but we wanted to try and clear the air and give out the correct information. So I'm going to pass over to you, Clive, because you're the one with the knowledge, and ask you to take us through VAT, PVA, supply VAT, zero VAT, acquisition VAT, all this stuff.
Okay. It's a pleasure, Graham. My only concern is that this may take a little longer than 5 minutes. Okay, so
They usually do.
five with Clive, five with Clive could get considerably extended here.
Yeah.
But you're right. The concern we've had, and we've posted some guidance today on the website. You've done that across our other social media platforms because two reasons. Misinformation, as you say, by some trade associations who are not fully understanding of the requirements, and that's not helpful. And two, not, in my view, enough clear and concise guidance from HMRC on this matter. That there are splatterings of guidance around the HMRC internet and web portal, but it's ever not easy to find with HMRC. You've got to be very specific in your search. And you think if you tap in VAT, it would come up, but no, it doesn't. Right. So I think what we've done yesterday evening and what you've posted today is what we hope is clear and concise guidance that members can follow. And as you posted on the website, if they're uncertain about what they're reading, then please reach out to yourself, and then we can further clarify if they have any specific issues. But having written it, then I'm hopefully it's in plain enough English. And I, no disrespect, tried to simplify it for most people's understanding. But as I say, please, and I'm saying this directly to people listening and members listening, please do reach out if you need clarity. I will try and make this as simple as I can, which is a fairly complex issue, VAT, and as VAT within the excise warehouse regime is not straightforward, and it is quite complex. But in simple terms, what we've tried to outline is that there are 4 excise W5, W5Ds that are now generated through the regime, and they are condensed down into 3 VAT options within the ATWD. And these acronyms will mean, the people who are dealing with this, these acronyms will mean everything to them. So I won't explain what those are. But in simple terms, we are looking at generating maximum of 4 warrants, and they're condensed, as I say. When you go in and key that warrant into ATWD, they're condensed down to 3 VAT options. So if I run through those quite simply and as quickly as I can, the first VAT type option is what we call supply VAT, and that covers any goods, any excise suspended goods that have been subject to what we call sell in warehouse. Some may relate to that as a selling bond, but basically where a sell in warehouse has occurred, then when those goods are removed from that excise warehouse, then supply VAT is due and payable on that warrant. Okay. The other option that potentially generates a supply VAT warrant or VAT payable warrant, let's say, is where import VAT and PVA is not claimed in the new world. So from the 1st of January, import VAT associated to EU goods and rest of the world goods, that are subject to customs procedures where the importer has not claimed PVA, it needs to go down onto a VAT payable warrant and supply VAT is declared. And as our guidance outlines on the website, a C79 certificate is then issued in those two cases. Okay. The second VAT type is a zero VAT warrant, and that's where GB produced goods which are not subject to a selling warehouse are then removed from that excise warehouse. So very, manufacturers, people like Pernod Ricard and what have you, who utilize excise, third-party excise warehouses, when they remove their own goods from that excise warehouse, they have not been subject to a sale, therefore no VAT is payable. And that's the option selected on ATWD. So on the supply VAT, you've got VAT payable. On the second option, no VAT payable is the option. Okay.
Okay.
So they're two hopefully fairly straightforward and understandable scenarios. The third, which is where we get a slightly more complex, is the third VAT W5D is acquisition VAT. And this was much consternation and late discussion with HMRC and UK software developers, is that we saw this as a very late change ahead of the end of the EU transition period. Now, acquisition VAT remains accountable on goods that were brought into an excise warehouse on or before the 31st of December 2020. So if they're in the warehouse now and then subsequently get removed, then acquisition VAT remains due and accountable, not payable, due and accountable. So under the ATWD option, there is the acquisition VAT option to declare, and that's the option you use. So it's the third of our four W5, W5D warrants, acquisition VAT on goods held in warehouse and arrived in warehouse 31st December before, when they're removed after that date, i.e. 1st of January 2021 and after, then acquisition VAT remains accountable, and you use that option through ATWD to account for that VAT.
Okay.
And as a footnote, subsequently, you then continue to declare that through your VAT return, okay, as acquisition VAT. The fourth and final and new W5D, W5D, is the PVA, postponed VAT accounting warrant. Okay, so here, these are EU excise goods, obviously, in duty suspension, that come in from EU or rest of the world countries that have arrived in that warehouse, arrived in the UK, and in that excise warehouse 1st of January 2021 and beyond. So what we call subject to customs procedures. Okay. Now, PVA is optional, it's not mandatory. So if your excise warehouse, if you tell your excise warehouse keeper you wish to claim PVA, then they set you up as doing exactly that. They set you up to say that, right, my removals will be downdated to a PVA W5D warrant. Okay. Now, the added complexity is that ATWD has not been developed by HMRC. So when we get to HMRC's ATWD system, we key that as an acquisition VAT warrant.
Right.
Now that has caused huge confusion, not only in the trader community, but I have to say in the IT software community as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that, as you know, you were subject and party to those discussions, both with HMRC and some of our software developer colleagues, colleagues, and great consternation that why can we not and why should we not key those as PVA warrants? The reality is we don't. ATW has not been developed and is left with, and this is where we talked about earlier about condensing these VAT options down into 3 from 4, is that PVA is not available, so we key it by ATWD as an acquisition VAT warrant. Okay. That is if you claim PVA. I have to say, why wouldn't you as a trader? if you're entitled to do so, particularly if you're VAT registered and you're fully taxable, then why would you not claim PVA? If you didn't want to, then I go back to the first variation, which was the supply VAT warrant. It gets keyed as a supply VAT payable warrant and the C79 certificate issued, and you can reclaim that import VAT. Okay, so just one final comment on the PVA warrant is that HMRC is saying that we now have postponed VAT accounting statements issued monthly that are available for traders to access through the government gateway. These removals will not appear on that statement.
Right.
So in the guidance, which you've attached actually to our guidance that we posted today, there is a link to the W5D completion notes issued by HMRC on the 31st of December that does explain that these movements do not appear on that PVA monthly statement, and you must retain all the documentation that your excise warehouse keeper produces for you as support to your VAT return transactions that you reflect and account for, okay, the PVA. So that's an important point not to miss.
Okay.
Okay. So that's a quick run through of postponed VAT accounting. So hopefully that made sense, Graham, and obviously understandable by our members. It is quite complex, contradictory in some regards.
Yes.
As you know.
Yes.
And clearly some other trade associations are struggling with the understanding of that. And I think, to their defence, HMRC, and we're pushing, pushing HMRC, as you know.
Yeah.
We pushed them before EU exit or the end of the transition period to issue clear, concise guidance, and they've not done so. So what we're trying to do is help our members just get to understand, in quite basic terms, what the requirements are. So hopefully they found this useful, and if they refer to the guidance that you've posted for us today, then hopefully that gives them all the understanding and explanation they need. But as you said in that post today, or in posting that guidance, please contact you specifically if they've got any particular issues or need clarity. And I think we've already spoken this evening offline of this chat, of a member who's got a specific query that we've obviously gone back to, and we'll go back to them actually probably tomorrow, giving them a better, greater clarity in terms of how to resolve the issue they've got. So, yeah, I hope that was useful, not too long-winded, Graham.
Well, hopefully it helps, and hopefully it makes it kind of clearer for everyone out there who's having to deal with these issues. But we have got this on the website, and I will put a link at the end of this. There is a link in our bio as well, so you can have a look there. We've also posted it on Twitter and our group on LinkedIn. So if you haven't joined it, go and have a look and get involved.
Yeah, please. And I think we mentioned on our episode 10, Graham, if anybody's got any topics they wish to discuss, and debate,
yes.
This is a great forum to do so. It'd be great to either discuss members' topics or even have the member join us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which would be for a tripartite kind of discussion, as it were. So, we're receptive to that, and we'd be keen to get members' engagement and involvement in our fibre Clive. So, that's anybody out there wishing to have the discussion or debate about a particular issue, then please make contact.
We're here to help.
We are, Graham. That's what we're here to do. Good points. Well made.
All right, good stuff. Thank you very much, Clive. Another session well done. And I'll put those links at the end, and look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Absolutely. See you soon.
All right, all the best.
You take care.
And you. Bye-bye.
Bye.